You don't need to have listened to Jay-Z to know who Jay-Z is. He's the type of artist whose name you've likely encountered before simply due to probability. He is, after all, the man with the most Grammy nominations in history, even more than the multi-award-winning Paul McCartney. But in the case of Jay-Z, the chances of you coming across headlines featuring him increase by an extra factor. He's a rapper and producer significantly connected to the controversial P. Diddy, currently jailed due to mounting allegations against him. Terrible allegations that speak of disturbing parties. If you're interested in learning more about these parties, I invite you to watch the videos we've already uploaded on this channel. Many are discussing this topic. In the days following the scandal's outbreak, Jay-Z's legal representatives were emphatic that the man was a friend of P. Diddy didn't necessarily make him an accomplice to the other's actions. Many decided to believe in this logic, at least until a testimony came to light. A woman, whose name remains anonymous, alleged that after the Music Television Video Music Awards party held in New York City in 2000, Jay-Z and P. Diddy allegedly sexually abused her, who was only 13 years old at the time. According to a third party's lawsuit, a woman was present that night in that room and saw how the accused took turns abusing their victim. To this day, speculation remains about the woman's identity, but let's not jump ahead. How did Jay-Z end up becoming the icon he is today? What were the controversies that surrounded his early years? What was his connection to the deaths of notorious Biggie Smalls and Tupac? Why is he associated with the tragedy of Aliyah? Why is his image synonymous with conspiracy, Illuminati? To try to shed some light on these questions, we are going to delve into the dark case of Jay-Z. In 2010, Jay-Z graced the Forbes cover for his immense wealth. 9 years later, the publication highlighted him as the first rapper to become a billionaire, and he didn't do it with all the power to generate hits. His ventures range from clothing brands, technology-related companies, restaurants, stock investments, and a long list of others which always kept his finances on the rise. Today, it's impossible to imagine him without gold chains, designer clothes, in luxurious hotels and dreamy landscapes. But his childhood had no relation to that. There was no golden cradle in his early years, quite the opposite. Sean Corey Carter was born on December 4, 1969 in a Brooklyn, New York neighborhood project. He went through some schools that were systematically closed, and there he met other children who would later also shine in the musical world. However, that would be a long way off. His life, already chaotic, radically changed when his father left home when he was 12. Homeless, penniless, and surrounded by a hostile environment rife with vices and theft, the young man knew his survival depended solely on himself. And what was the first alternative that he came across on his path? The alternative that was presented to all those who were like him was to become a mule for the drug traffickers. The young ones were used to fly under the police radar and thus carry and bring drugs with impunity. John unhesitatingly surrendered to the routine's vertigo, but first clarified that he was unique. With fists and thanks to a weapon he got, who knows how. He secured a privileged position and quickly gained respect from peers and some superiors. The boy was direct and straightforward. On a certain occasion, he would even shoot one of his brothers. No further. It even began to be rumored that the boy had the skills to, sooner or later, lead a gang. However, that was not in his plans. Jay-Z, as he would later be known, did not dream of being part of the exclusive world of Lampa Jay-Z. He wanted to learn to be money. At first, he tried to stay away from what he was selling. There were plenty of cases of others like him who were seduced by drugs and within a few months were reduced to drooling zombies. Jay-Z had understood how the trap worked and focused his energy on the other element of the transaction, the large bundles of bills. He knew that ending up behind bars was a possibility, but he also knew that he couldn't waste time and much less deal with speculations. One particular day, he took his shipment of crack to a neighboring city. The reasons? There was less risk of being caught there, plus they paid better. Being able to keep an extra in the profits gave rise to his ambition, and at that moment, a hunger was awakened that would never leave him. He was never going to settle for what they offered or told him. If he really wanted to make a difference, he had to manage with his own contacts and his own rules. Thus, the boy started learning about supply and demand. As he later said, this helped him grasp economic principles and, most importantly, know what kind of people to avoid in the future. He had learned to discern who valued him and who wanted to use him as bait. With an increasingly clear goal, Jay-Z took charge of his home and went through situations as bizarre as they were dangerous. At night, while at home, he had trouble sleeping due to the adrenaline he accumulated during the daytime hours. Then he would start tapping the table with his fingers, playing with rhythms, remembering what those older kids who gathered to rap on the corners did. He spent long hours inventing melodies and soon managed to approach some young people who taught him more and more about that art. He had a tutor and shyly began composing, accompanying his walks with cassettes of the current musical exponents. At one point, his mother got him a boombox and there was no turning back. Jay-Z fell more and more in love with music. He couldn't help but have a dream drawn on his horizon. He wanted to be a star and he would achieve it and more, and what he didn't know is that he would also achieve a lot more. Like leading, for example, many conspiracy theories. When record labels refused to offer him a contract, Jay-Z remained calm and composed. By then, he had decided that working for others wasn't the best choice. In 1996, he released his debut album under his own label and secured good relationships with distribution companies, launching his successful career. That would be the first step of an artist who would revolutionize the entertainment industry, but he would also be involved in more than one scandal. Jay-Z was 28 years old, no longer a kid, and among his tracks was one in which he collaborated with the already renowned The Notorious Big. Even though the sales were not exhaustive, the reviews put his material into orbit. He successfully entered the competitive hip-hop world through the proper channels. Moreover, his initial conflicts with co-workers were noted, particularly a confrontation with the iconic Tupac. The dispute had started after Tupac was assaulted and shot 5 times in a studio in New York. The man consistently accused Bad Boy Records and local rappers without hesitation. Jay-Z and other New York rappers consistently proclaimed their innocence. 2 days later, Tupac would be convicted for an alleged abuse. Months later, upon leaving prison, he lashed out at those he believed had attacked him. Jay-Z was labeled as homosexual by Tupac and insulted in many of his subsequent tracks. He, for his part, was subtle with all his responses. He took the opportunity to express his admiration for the living legend, stating he didn't want to start a battle with them. In September 1996, Tupac suffered a fatal second attack that he could not survive. The search for the culprit was complex, but today the crime has a man named Davis behind bars. In December 2024, the man confessed to committing the murder for hire. He stated that he had received $1 million for pulling the trigger, and who said they had paid him, a musician and producer who was also making his way at that time. One named P. Diddy. In turn, P. Diddy recruited and took under his wing the new Golden Goose. And that's how Jay-Z's second album was released with his name on the credits list. Some theories propose this marked the start of a criminal partnership between P. Diddy and Jay-Z. That without hesitation, they would have gotten rid of Tupac to establish the empire they lead today? This time the sales skyrocketed to the top, but back then another death shook everything and Jay-Z declared himself too distraught to enjoy the rising fame. His friend, the Notorious Big, had received a fatal shooting. Jay-Z's vulnerable display of aggression and violence evoked sympathy from many. However, the situation remains unclear. In 2024, Ron Smith, a former bodyguard of Diddy, declared that Diddy and Jay-Z conspired to murder the rapper. He had expressed his intention to leave Combs' company, Bad Boy Records. He also claimed that Jay-Z and Diddy wanted to eliminate Biggie to gain control over the music industry. Just 24 hours after posting a TikTok video about this, Ron was found dead under suspicious circumstances. Are these stories surfacing now because discussing P. Diddy is profitable given the controversies surrounding him? Are murky secrets from the past being revealed? Did Diddy pave the way for Jay-Z's megastardom? It's impossible to know for sure. What we do know is that the rivers of blood around him were just beginning to flow and would soon thicken. Jay-Z already had songs and music videos that had earned him thousands of fans and detractors. He also had a lot of charisma with the press and the firm belief that he had not yet reached his peak. That's why he wouldn't stop recruiting artists for his label, generating idolatry from all those aspiring to release a rap or hip-hop album. With deliberate steps, he quickly became the center of the scene. It was a few weeks before his fourth material saw the light that the man got caught up in a bunch of attempted murder accusations. It began in a now-defunct New York club. It was December 9th, 1999, and a party was being held for the release of Q-Tip's first album. Jay-Z enjoyed himself with partners and friends when he encountered executive producer Lance on Riviera. Then chaos ensued. Things got stirred up from one second to the next. The music stopped amidst the sound of shattered glass and screams, revealing Rivera lying on the floor, bleeding heavily. Someone had stabbed him. Jay-Z's associates were accused of causing a commotion inside the club, while Jay-Z was allegedly carrying out the attack. Jay-Z's new album was leaked and pirated, which motivated the release. Jay-Z had blamed Rivera for this and had stated multiple times that he would seize any chance for revenge. From the start, he denied the incident and proclaimed his innocence before the jury. His lawyers even claimed that they had not been anywhere near Rivera during the altercation. Even with witnesses and being on the club's security camera tape, contrary to expectations, he was found guilty of a lesser offense and sentenced to 3 years probation. The most widespread rumor said that Jay-Z had paid Rivera $600,000 in a civil settlement to stop the accusations. The incident allowed Jay-Z to put a damper on everything. It was at that moment when he decided to stop the spiral of violence that always seemed to orbit him. Some predicted a bad end for him, but after the stabbing accusations and probation, Jay-Z seemed to reconsider what was happening. Around then, Jay-Z met a young woman making waves with her talent. In those years, he would start dating who would become his current wife and the mother of his 3 children. We're discussing BEYONCÉ. Just to let you know, we already have a video about her on this channel. To learn about her life and the theories surrounding it, check out the channel. You'll find it there. Thank you very much, BEYONCÉ. Let's continue. This couple quickly became one of the favorites for the paparazzi, and their success in their field made them seen as the most powerful duo in the entire environment, power they achieved through perseverance and sacrifice. At least that's what some of the public believes. Some members of the public are suspicious of Jay-Z's rapid rise to the top, doubting he achieved it without special assistance. And we're not just talking about his friend Petey. There are those who believe that the man would belong to the Illuminati, a group to which he would also have brought BEYONCÉ in. Is Illuminati. Rihanna once mentioned that when she had business meetings with Jay-Z, the man put a contract on the table and told her there were 2 options. Either she walked out the door with the contract signed or through the window. It's worth clarifying that she was on the 22nd floor, so we understand that the window was a bit high. There are plenty of stories of this kind. Somehow many want to imply that Jay-Z feels untouchable at his peak. What does this have to do with the Illuminati? One of the most representative symbols of this controversial secret congregation is the pyramid with the Eye of Providence, which is not exclusive to the Illuminati. However, it is also true that it cannot be used without establishing a direct connection between the 2 things. From his early years, Jay-Z frequently used this type of iconography in his shows, stage arts, and even when posing for cameras. His habit of making a triangle with his hands became so common that many journalists asked him about it. Jay-Z always responded with a smile that the symbol he made with his fingers represented a diamond, like a kind of manifestation of his eagerness to sell many records. This response calmed the waters temporarily, but then theories of him hiding something resurfaced. More precisely, in 2018, Jay-Z filed legal documents to obtain exclusive rights to the symbol. He said he did it to avoid issues with people accusing him of taking something that didn't belong to him. Regardless, it baffled everyone that the rapper was willing to pay a fortune, just to ensure that the hand gesture forming a triangle definitively belonged to him. Just a matter of branding or something more? Does this man and the group he is part of know the power of this symbol and want to ensure that no one else uses it through lawsuits? Is Jay-Z perhaps the representative of a secret society that includes politicians, artists, influencers, musicians? That has a lot of power and is even capable of changing the course of the world. But if this were the case, what would the Illuminati want? Basically, to create a new world order. And that would explain why they recruit all these people with a great ability to persuade the masses, people who would be used to establish ideological discourses and subliminal messages. All of this is for many a bizarre exaggeration, but as the years go by, these ideas continue to spread and at times acquire sinister nuances that make even the most skeptical wonder if not. Could it be true that there is a kind of fraternity of millionaires with their own habits and perverse beliefs? Those who claim that Jay-Z was responsible for initiating BEYONCÉ into these hidden power groups are the same ones who believe that what would happen at the infamous P. Diddy parties was linked to these individuals. Individuals who, in the shadows, commit the most controversial acts while shaping the reality that we all consume daily. The Illuminati would then be the true masters of the planet, holding pagan parties and rituals, including human sacrifices. These secret societies, allegedly in contact with otherworldly forces, are said to favor their chosen members by granting them wealth and eliminating their closest rivals. Competitors like, for example, the aforementioned Tupac or Notorious Big could have been Aaliyah. Aaliyah was a famous American singer who had a whole career ahead of her, but who mysteriously died in 2001. Born in Brooklyn in 1979, Aaliyah Dana Houghton was raised in a humble neighborhood in Detroit. From a very young age, she stood out musically, leading her parents to have her audition for musicals and television or radio programs without hesitation. To the formula of parents who see in their children the possibility of becoming millionaires. Add to that, an equally ambitious uncle who ended up being responsible for little Aaliyah getting a contract at the young age of 12. As the young girl's immense talent grew, new characters entered her life, some eager to support her, others seeking to exploit her abilities. So it was when she was 15 years old. The 27-year-old singer Robert Sylvester Kelly illegally married her, forging documents that allowed him to leave the country. Until she reached the age of 22, at which she would meet a premature death. The girl managed to win several awards and unique recognition. Was she credited with saving the R&B scene? She was even called the Queen of Urban Pop and would have a notable role in the film Queen of the Damned, a continuation of the classic Interview with the Vampire. There was never any doubt that Ali was here to stay, and obviously P. Diddy wanted to meet her, but for one reason or another, things didn't go very well between them. A situation that, they say, ended up with P. Diddy making a drastic decision to remove the girl from the situation. Meanwhile, multiple witnesses claimed that Jay-Z had been rejected by her several times, possibly causing resentment. These two people are experiencing a suspicious death. Was it done to prevent her from overshadowing other artists under their wing like BEYONCÉ? Was it because Aaliyah witnessed something forbidden? Did she refuse to accept certain conditions? Or was it about a dangerously powerful man who couldn't take no for an answer? Either way, Aaliyah died in a supposed plane crash, which to this day is still being investigated. When the 20th anniversary of her death came around, a new biography hit the market, shedding light on the grim details of this fateful day. The book is titled Baby Girl Better Known as Aaliyah, and in it, an alleged witness claims that Aaliyah did not want to board the fatal flight because she knew something was not right. According to this witness, the artist was allegedly put on the plane anesthetized and against her will. There are many who hope that sooner or later all of this issue can be clarified. Meanwhile, P. Diddy and Jay-Z foresee their future growing increasingly complex, especially after new allegations were leveled against them about something that happened in 2000, when Aaliyah was still alive and won the award for Best Female Video for Try Again. And that's how our story goes back to the beginning. The 2000 edition of the Music Television Video Music Award had prizes for many of the artists who shaped the beginning of the millennium. Bands like Blink-182, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Limp Bizkit, or Eminem rose with nominations and awards. It was a widely remembered celebration precisely for the quality of the material that could be appreciated in it. But of course, the celebration didn't end when the cameras were turned off. A few kilometers from the site where the event was held, P. Diddy had his own party. Everyone who participated in the award ceremony was invited to it. There was alcohol, music, hallway chats, probably the start of some friendships and some excesses, but it seems there were also other things. A woman claimed she was at Diddy's house that dawn when she was 13 years old, and she said that both the homeowner and Jay-Z had abused her, in front of the view of others, among whom would have been a famous celebrity. Some claim that Jennifer Lopez, who was P. Diddy's partner at the time, allegedly witnessed the entire incident. Jay-Z sued Tony Bosby, the lawyer of his alleged victim, in a Los Angeles court for defamation and extortion in response to the accusation. The aforementioned lawsuit, filed on December 20th, 2024, alleges that the accusing law firm had given Jay-Z a 2-week deadline to commit to confidential mediation, which involved a substantial financial compensation. Jay-Z added that the legal representative of the alleged victim is taking advantage of public scrutiny in order to pressure him. His official statement was literally this quote: "The accusations are so heinous that I urge filing a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whoever commits such a crime against a minor should be jailed, don't you think? We have very strict codes of conduct and honor, we protect children, but you seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake physicists, will believe the stupid claims you have launched against me. And that if it weren't for the gravity of the damage to the children, they would be ridiculous. While justice evaluates its next case, Sean Diddy Combs is in prison and preparing for a trial on multiple charges related to abuse crimes. He has denied all accusations against him, including one that names Jay-Z as an accomplice. Is Jay-Z another monster who used to disguise all this time to not show his true self? Or are they perhaps accusing, perhaps unjustly, just for being friends with P. Diddy? What do you think? The man has also been criticized for his huge carbon footprint in a review of 2022 flight records. Jay-Z's name appears on a list of the top 10 celebrities with the worst private jet carbon dioxide emissions, alongside Taylor Swift, Steven Spielberg, Kim Kardashian, Oprah Winfrey, and more. Slowly, the public and journalists are peeking behind the bolt of impunity that comes with being a celebrity. And behind closed doors, not everything is glamour. In fact, it seems that things inside are not as they have always been shown to us. Is this the beginning of the collapse of years and years of cover-up? Or in a few months will we be talking about the new hit from some new artist, and all of this will have gone out of style?